Hi, Krishna, we can start.
Sure. I hope my screen is visible.
Yep, yeah,
All
we
right.
can see.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Krishna. I have around a decade of experience in the IT industry, so primarily in SAP. So I've spent more than 6 years now in SAP Success Factors. I've been a part of more than 10 Success Factors EC implementation projects and more than 30 support projects by now. And I am a full-time consultant. I've been associated with a couple of implementation firms earlier. At the same time, I'm a part-time trainer. I do both corporate trainings as well as specific trainings, and I've been associated with Globalwave for a while now. And the agenda of this session is to introduce everyone to what is SAP Success Factors, which function does it fall under SAP ERP, and we will deep dive into a specific module of Success Factors called Employee Central. So this is the agenda for today. We'll try to cover as much as we can in the next 1 hour. So I'll first introduce you on what ERP is, what SAP is, what are these fancy terms, and then we'll talk a bit more about SAP success factors, right? So you might have heard the term ERP quite often in the IT industry. So it stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So basically, ERP is a software which helps organizations to tackle a specific function of their business. It could be their uh, sales and marketing function. It could be their human capital management. It could be their supply chain management. So enterprise resource planning, ERP softwares have specific tools, specific solutions for each and every function. So and there are a lot of leading ERP players in the market. So there is SAP, which is the world's largest ERP player. We have Oracle, we have Microsoft, we have Amazon. So almost all the big giants have their own ERP solutions for different problems which the organizations face. And primarily, ERP softwares are used by customers or organizations which are mid or large sized organizations. So someone like PepsiCo, someone like Coca-Cola, someone like IKEA. So these are large scaled organizations. So generally ERP solutions are costly. That is the reason only big, large scale and above medium scale organizations can afford these solutions. So as you can see on the screen, so ERP has solutions for each and every day-to-day functions which we deal with. So you order a product on Amazon, there's a ERP software behind it, right from placing an order, uh, then completing the payment, then placing an order in the repository, and from there dispatching it, delivering it, tracking it. There's a whole life cycle of you ordering a product until you receiving the product. So similarly, the aim in this session will be to focus on something called human capital management. So just like how you are a part of a ERP life cycle, knowingly or unknowingly, there's something called human capital management, which all the organizations use. It is one of their primary functions. And the main purpose of human capital management is to help organizations to to build their whole organization structure in the system, to take care of the employee data, take care of the employees' personal data, employment data, promotions data, absences, which means an employee is applying for a leave, an employee is applying for a overtime, an employee wants to view their payroll. So any activity which an employee undergoes in an organization, right from hiring until retirement. So right from applying for a job, getting shortlisted, getting the offer letter, and then joining as an employee, then taking care of tax details, payroll, payslips, promotions, demotions, transfers. So the whole life cycle of an employee within an organization is dealt in human capital management. So human capital management is one of the most famous functions of ERP. So as you can see, ERP has its presence in different functions. Like there are some famous financial systems of ERP. Then there is CRM. Then there's sales. But we are focusing on human resources or human capital management. Yeah. And what is the benefit of an ERP system? So why can't an organization use individual systems for individual requirements? Let's talk about a company called Coca-Cola. Let's say Coca-Cola has 1 lakh employees employed with them. So why can't Coca-Cola have one specific portal for their employees to view their payslips, another system to apply for their employees to apply for their absences, another systems to view their payslips? So it gets very trickier for an organization to maintain individual systems and data flow between each systems. So that is where organizations opt for an ERP solution within that specific function. So now, whenever Coca-Cola wants to use an ERP solution for their human capital management, one of the most famous options which they have in the market is SAP Success Factors. Now, what is SAP Success Factors? It is the leading cloud-based HCM solution in the market. If you can look at my screen right now, so at the moment we have a lot of players in ERP. We have SAP, we have Workday, Oracle, Microsoft, and so on. And SAP Success Factors is the leading cloud-based HRP HCM suite in the market, and one of the closest competitors is something called Workday. So you will notice that most of the
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, Krishna. Yes, presentation is stuck in one six key benefits of ERP. Are you showing something else?
Okay, yeah, I'm on slide 8, which is SAP success factor slide.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, I won't use the presenter mode. I'll just keep it like this. Yeah. So if we talk about the Fortune 500 firms in the market right now, most of them for their human capital management needs, they are either on SAP success factors or the second option being Workday. So now uh, you talk about Microsoft is on SAP success factors, Apple is on Workday, PepsiCo is on success factors, Coca-Cola is on success factors, and a lot of the Fortune 500 clients are already using success factors for their HCM needs. But what does SAP success factors actually solve for an organization? So it solves all the employee needs and organization needs. So it has solutions to help a client. Let's say again, let's talk about Coca-Cola. So SAP success factors can help Coca-Cola to deal with all their recruitment needs. It will help to fulfill all their hiring needs, to manage their existing employees workforce, to see how is the utility rate of the employees. Do they need to hire more employees in the next quarter? Do they need to restructure the existing teams? So we have some AI built capabilities and success factors which will give dashboards and reports to the managers and to the leadership of Coca-Cola to take decisions, to take strategic decisions for hirings, for promotions, and so on. So what does HCM primarily cater to? It helps with the recruiting needs, it helps with the learning management needs, any trainings which we take in an organization, all the compliance quizzes, all the mandatory quizzes, all the reskilling, upskilling. And once you're done with the course, you get to do a quiz, after which you get a certification, right? So all these are handled by the learning management module of HCM. So HCM caters to a lot of areas. Each area is called as a module. So recruitment management is a module of human capital management. Workforce management is a module of it. Similarly, we also have a module called compensation and benefits. So any organization will use a compensation and benefits module to decide what is the salary that they have to offer to a candidate who has X number of years of experience from a metro city. So they have all the logics which are built in the success factors compensation systems, which will help the organization to say that, okay, this is the amount. So it is 15.5 lakhs for 3 years of experience, which you can offer to a consultant based in Delhi. And when it comes to the same position, but it is based in a tier 2 city, let's say it is Lucknow. So that is where, since the cost of living is a bit lower in Lucknow compared to Delhi, so the offer would be somewhere around 13.5 lakhs. Okay. So success factors has such mechanisms to understand, to customize the logics as much as we can, or as much as the customer wants, to arrive at a specific need. Performance management. This is also a module of success factors. It helps the organizations to rate the employees' performance on a annual basis. Few organizations also do it once in 6 years. So most of the organizations do it once a year. And based on the feedback from the performance management, the employee is given a certain rating. And based on the rating, the employee is given a certain hike percentage in their salary. If the employee is not receiving a minimum rating, they would not be given a hike. So it is clearly dependent, and it varies from a customer to customer. So Coca-Cola might have different processes altogether, PepsiCo might have different processes, and so on. So to summarize human capital management, it tackles all the actions necessary for an organization as well as an employee, right from hiring until retirement. So we will not use a word called termination, we will use a word called retirement. So anything happening to the employees data in between hiring and retirement is handled by the human capital management system, which is SAP success factors. Yeah. So this is a typical uh, overview of what SAP success factors has to offer. So SAP success factors, SAP success factors has this main module, the core HR module called as Employee Central, which is the primary agenda of this course which Global Wave is conducting. So what does a core module do? What does core HR do? It saves the it captures the whole organization's data. It captures the whole employees data, employees personal data, employees compensation data, employees job specific data, tax data. The whole data management is done in Employee Central. And there are automation logics, there is AI, there are workflows, and there are many capabilities in Employee Central through which we offer a very neat and a smart system to the customers to manage their data. So when I say customer, whom exactly are we helping with? It is to the HR team of the customer. So let's say I am implementing SAP success factors as the HCM solution for Coca-Cola, and I am from Accenture. So I've implemented it for Coca-Cola, but after that, who is going to use it? Everyone is going to use it from Coca-Cola. So we have different roles. We call them as roles. An employee of Coca-Cola will log into Success Factors to download their pay slips, to apply for their leaves, to check, to update their personal data, to update their dependence data, marital status, and so on. So what does a manager do? A manager can log into the system. He or she can have a look at their reportees data. They can have an overview of which employee is going on leave on what day. The manager has access to offer bonuses or promotions to their teammates. And then we have another role called HR role. What does an HR of Coca-Cola typically do? The HR would get access to hire new employees in the system, modify employees' data in the system, run reports, arrive at arrive at decision making using the report output, uh, take care of the performance management, and so on. So each role has their own unique purpose in the success factor system. So that too primarily employee central module. Now, if you look at uh, employee central from a different perspective, so any SAP success factors consultant who gets started with success factors in the market, they primarily get started with employee central because it is called as the core or the base of success factors. So typically, there are senior consultants who know 3 to 5 modules, sometimes 6 modules as well, but majority of them start their journey with employee central. And even if we look at the job market perspective, we would find a lot of jobs on employee central module. That's the reason the number of consultants in employee central is also high. It's purely based on supply and demand, because there are most of the organizations which are already using or already implemented employee central. They would want to hire consultants to help with employee central activities. And then recruiting is also famous module, onboarding is also famous module. So each module has its own offerings to help an organization. But primarily, Employee Central is called as the core HR module of success factors, which stores the employee data and organization data. Right now, if you look at the way in which this image is presented, you have core HR at the bottom, and on top of that, you have the other modules like recruiting, onboarding, learning, and all. And then on top of that, you have analytics. So basically, all these modules like succession, compensation, performance management, they interact with the employee central module to know employee data. Let's say we have hired an employee called Ashish in the Coca-Cola employee central system as of 1st January 2023. So now that we've already crossed Feb 2024, now Ashish is eligible for the performance appraisal in this year. So that is when this module would want to have the Ashish's data or all the eligible employees data, right? So all the modules of success factors as well, they interact with each other. So primarily all the other modules interact with employee central module, and also they interact with each other as well. Performance module also interacts with compensation, learning also interacts with other module, and so on. Now, this also implies that any organization, so if they want to have if they want to have success factors as their HR solution, they first implement Employee Central. So once they implement Employee Central and they transfer all the 1 lakh employees data from, let's say, another system to success factors, once it is done, then they go ahead with other modules implementations, and then we integrate other modules with Employee Central. Yeah, yeah. So we are just looking at what are the key modules of success factors. So it's clear that Employee Central is the most go-to module of success factors. And then we discussed about performance management. And then we have something called Employee Central payroll. It is a different module altogether. It helps the organization to run payroll of the employees within success factors itself. So typically an employee in India, if they're a full-time employee, they are paid on a monthly basis. But each country has its own frequency. There are few countries like US who offer salary on a bi-weekly basis. There are few countries which offer weekly payments. And if there is a customer who has manufacturing or factory sites, they offer day-to-day wages to the employees or contractors. So Employee Central Payroll is capable of handling different payroll needs of an organization. And then we have WorkZone, which is relatively a new module in the market. It is a collaboration portal of success factors. It helps employees of an organization to interact with each other, to post queries, to build a community or a culture within the organization. And it also shows the employees on what is their pending tasks in the organization. So it has again some AI driven capabilities to understand on a dynamic basis that what is the to do list for an employee for today in the system, in the organization, right? And then we have another famous module called recruiting. So recruiting is split into two separate modules. One is recruiting management, the other one is recruiting marketing. So recruiting marketing is also called as career site builder. So basically what recruiting module helps an organization is, let's say Coca-Cola is already using SAP success factors as their HR system, and in one of their marketing teams there is an employee who has resigned. Now that the employee has resigned and the resignation is accepted, now that position is now vacant. That position can be filled with an internal employee or an external employee. So that position can be created as a new job opening in LinkedIn directly. So SAP SuccessFactors recruiting has the capability to directly take a requirement, an open position requirement from SuccessFactors, and push it to the LinkedIn page of that specific company. So if there's a marketing analyst position which is now vacant, and there is a portal for it through which you can push that opening onto LinkedIn. So using these mechanisms, we are reducing the manual efforts involved for a recruiter to source all the details from the hiring manager and then reach out to candidates. So we are reducing a lot of steps for the recruiter from the hiring manager perspective as well as from the candidates perspective. So we'll talk about uh, those when we deep dive into recruiting. So recruiting also helps with automatic generation of offer letters, automatic scheduling of interview invites, shortlisting of candidates. Let's say for one position there are 10 candidates who've been interviewed, but only 4 of them have received a minimum score. So each candidate is given a candidate score, so only those 4 candidates would make it to the next round. So auto generation of shortlisting and rejection emails, everything can be automated in the recruiting module. Learning management, we've discussed that it helps with the trainings and certification needs of an organization. It will also allow internal trainings, external trainings, virtual trainings, and classroom trainings, and a lot of other features. Visa and permits, it is actually a part of Employee Central. So handling the employee's visa and visa and permits details. So typically, if an employee is moving from India to US, so if they're going on an employment visa called H1B, so managing the whole H1B visa details, ensuring that it is active, and if the H1B uh, validity of the employee is about to expire, so SuccessFactors has the capability to alert the employee's manager, the employee's HR, saying that this employee's visa is going to expire in the next 6 months. Please take the necessary actions. So similarly, we can also, the organization also gets to have a one view, a unified view of all the employees who are on different types of visas and permits, and it will help them to plan their costs and hiring trends in the upcoming quarters or in the specific financial year. Yeah, we've discussed compensation, and then we have something called onboarding. Onboarding is something which comes into the picture after recruiting and before Employee Central. So once the marketing analyst position is closed, we have identified a successful candidate. The candidate has been given an offer, they have accepted it. So right from acceptance until the joining date of the employee is until the joining date arrives, the process in between is onboarding process, where the organization will capture additional details of the employee. A few organizations want the candidates to undergo certain medical tests. Few organization wants employees to submit additional documents at the onboarding phase, and the organizations can also assign buddies buddy for a specific employee in a specific team, taking care of the IT needs, assigning a laptop, assigning the devices. Everything can be taken care and automated in the onboarding module. And then we have people analytics module, which solves all the analytics and reporting needs of the organization. So people analytics module covers the data from all the other modules. It will tell a specific manager or a specific vice president that, so these are the teams in which the attrition rate is very high. So this is the team in this location where people are resigning a lot. Some changes need to be done in that team or that division, and this is where we have more potential, so we have to increase our hiring. So all the reporting and analytics needs are catered using people analytics module. Yeah. Questions, anyone? Let me pause for a moment. We anyhow have a slot for Q&A, but whatever we discussed earlier, does anyone want to discuss specific queries? All right, I'll take that as a no. So let's talk about one specific topic in Employee Central called foundation data. So what is foundation data? So foundation data is called as the building block in Employee Central. Now let's take the same example, which is Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola has reached out to Accenture saying that, hey, please help us with a success factors implementation as our HR system. Now, what Accenture does is they will first analyze or understand what is the org structure of Coca-Cola. Okay, they realize that the topmost company name is Coca-Cola, and it has different units, like it has uh, beverages, it has IT. Yeah, let's talk about these two. And within beverages uh, business, so these are the layers of an organization. The topmost is layer is the company name. Under that there are some units. Under that there are some divisions, departments, sub departments, and so on. So we can customize this structure as well for each customer. The structure of Coca-Cola, which is a FMCG firm, might be totally different from what Apple has. Apple is a product-based firm, which is into technology, and its hierarchy might be totally different, right? So Success Factors has the capability to customize the org structure as well. So let's say under beverages we have marketing, we have sales. Let's say under IT we have something called customer support, and let's say it has presence in 2000 locations across the globe. So all those 2000 locations will also be captured. Let me capture one for now. And location groups, which is primarily a continent or a zone. I'll call this as Asia. And geozone is also similar to a zone. This can be Asia Pacific. Now, what departments could Coca-Cola have? It under marketing, it can have digital marketing, and let's just say marketing again. And then under customer support, we have voice support, we can have chat support, and so on. So digital marketing can be present across um, 200 different cost centers. Chat support might be present in 50 cost centers, and so on. It depends on how the business of Coca-Cola is set up. So whatever we have captured so far called Coca-Cola, beverages, marketing. So this is a legal entity, or this, let's call it as a company. And this was a business unit. This is a division. So all these blocks called company, business unit, division, department, all these are called as foundation objects. Yeah. So that is what foundation objects are. They are the building blocks of employee central system. Now, typically, when a customer reaches out to you and you are an implementation consultant, you first build the whole org structure of that company in the system. And after that, once the org structure is built, once the foundation objects are built, that is when you start hiring employees in the system. So if you have 1 lakh employees in Coca-Cola, you will not hire 1 lakh employee by one employee each. You have some mass uploads capability in Employee Central, through which you can complete the 1 lakh employees data migration in a couple of hours, just through using some Excel files. So foundation objects are called as the building blocks of Employee Central. And what do foundation objects represent? They represent the org structure of an employee, of an organization. Okay. Now let's look at how an employee central system looks like. Uh, I might need to stop and reshare just a moment. Is the screen visible?
Yep. Yes, please.
All right, thank you. So this is how a success factors system looks like. Now, let me make it clear that this is how a success factor system looks like, which means all the modules. So this is not just an employee central module. So based on your specific role, you will have the permissions to view your employee central specific data and configuration. So on the top left, I have the admin drop down. And if you can see over here, there is all the modules are enabled for this customer. There is recruiting enabled, performance management, goals management. There's something called CPM, continuous performance management. A lot of organizations, though they have an annual performance appraisal cycle, they also have something called continuous performance management, which is carried out once in 3 months to take the quarterly feedback uh, from the managers to the employees so that they can improve based on the feedback, right? So you have all the modules listed here, recruiting as well, onboarding as well. But where is Employee Central? So typically you will not see something specific called Employee Central. So my employee files is something which indicates Employee Central. So this is the home page of the SuccessFactors system. So if I am logging in as a SuccessFactors consultant in Coca-Cola system, I will have access to all the Coca-Cola employees data. If I type David, I will see all the employees with the name David who are Coca-Cola employees. But let's talk about David Weber. But if David as an employee logs into the system, they will only be able to see their own data. David will be able to see his own personal data, his own salary data. If he will type another employee's name called Rebecca, they will just see the basic details like first name, last name, email ID. They will not see all these sections of data. So this is something which we control through the security mechanism and success factors. That is called as role-based permissions. Role-based permissions is also a primary uh, topic which we will be doing in this course. Okay. So this is how typically an employee data is captured in the success factor system. We have different sections of data which is called as a portlet. Portlet. This is the term which we use in success factors projects. So each block of data is a portlet. So here we are capturing, there's one portlet called personal information where we capture first name, last name, gender, marital status, and so on. Then there's something called ID, national ID information. So if it's an employee from India, the primary national IDs which India has is Aadhaar card and PAN card. Yeah, it's PAN and Aadhaar. So any employee when they are joining an organization, the organization will capture these details. But what if it's a US based employee? US has its own national ID called social security number. So similarly, we as consultants would capture the different national ID types uh, required for a customer. So for Colombia, there's this ID called CDC ID. Then it needs to be in a specific format. If you see, it says NNNNN, which means it only accepts numbers. But if you look at our PAN card, PAN is a combination of alphabets and numbers, right? So we need not reinvent the wheel every single time. So for each and every customer, we will not write the logics for PAN card, Aadhaar card, and so on. There are some things which are standard offerings from success factors from SAP. We will just implement those. And then if the customer wants any changes, we will do those changes on top of the existing changes. So so basically these are cloud systems. The cloud projects are smart enough where we would want to deliver and complete a project as quickly as we can. So we will have a lot of resources from SAP to reduce the implementation time. We need not reinvent the wheel every single time. Now, let's say for gender. So we know that globally there are certain accepted gender types which SAP gives by default. Uh, yeah, these are the standard gender types. So every time you need not create each and every drop down, right? Salutations. Let's say your customer wants, so there are 4 drop down values here. Your customer wants 10 different drop downs. So that is when you can create 6 more drop down values. And similarly, we have biographical info where we have employees' date of birth, country of birth, address info where we have the employee's residential address and so on. So typically as an implementation consultant, we will configure each and every portlet. Will take care of the design, the number of fields which they want, the style of the fields, the type of fields. Should it be a drop down? Should it be an free text field and so on? Now, this is the most important portlet of employee central data called organization data. So looking at this portlet, we can see what exactly is David's role in the organization. So he's been hired in the system on Jan 1st, 2019. So that is his hire date. And when did the HR hire David with this hire date in the system? It was on June 23rd, 2020. So they did a backdated hiring. And what is his position? He's a dispatcher and he belongs to Best Run DE, which stands for Germany. He is a part of service and sales teams. He works in the European time zone. He works for 40 hours a week, uh, 5 days, 40 hours per day, 5 days per week. And he's a full time resource. Like he's 100% resource. He's not working part time for the organization. Right. So these are the different types of data which we capture in job information portlet. So what is his holiday calendar? So if it's an employee based in India, they will have Indian calendar because Diwali, Dasara, Ugadi, these are the leaves which are applicable for Indian employees. But if it's a German employee, they have their own set of national holidays. So those holidays are designed in this specific holiday calendar called DU Germany. Yeah. Now getting to the gist of what we are discussing. So we capture different types of employees' personal data and employees' organization data over here. So let's look at his compensation. So this is the salary which David was offered when he joined on Jan 1st, 2019. His monthly salary is 4850 euros and his annual salary is 58k euros. And if he has any additional pay components like a joining bonus or one-time bonus, so the HR would have hired, the HR would have entered those details during the hiring itself. So let me say that David also has an additional pay component called car allowance, which is, let's say, 1500 euros per month, which is a norm in most of the European countries, right? So now when I save it, 4850 is a monthly component and 1500 is a monthly component. But the annual salary didn't get updated. So annual salary is nothing but the CTC. So there are few customers which have all the allowances which compute the CTC, and there are few organizations which give some additional pay components to the employee which are not a part of the CTC. Now there is some piece of configuration which we can do to say that whenever we update the car allowance for Germany employees, it should get accounted in their annual salary as well. So we can do those customizations at a customer level. Okay. So earlier I was showing you that so Coca-Cola has two different business units called beverages and then IT, and under beverages have created marketing and sales. How can we create those foundation data? So there is a transaction called managed data through which I can define that okay, there is one business unit whose start date is 1st Jan 2024. Its name is beverages. So I'll create beverages, and then I'll create a division called marketing. And here I will link marketing to beverages business unit, which I've just created. So under marketing, I've under marketing division, we also had a department called digital marketing. Now I'll create a department called digital marketing, and I will link it to the division called beverages. Sorry, division is marketing, and legal entity, which country. So Coca-Cola might have presence in let's say 80 countries, so we'll have to create 80 companies. So let's say for now I'll say best run Germany or Coca-Cola Germany. So this is how we end up creating the whole foundation data. So now you know that there is a department called digital marketing which belongs to a division called marketing, and if you click here you will know that marketing division belongs to beverages unit, and so on. So we can associate data as well. Associate is nothing but interlinking data. So you create an individual foundation record called department digital marketing. You create a division called marketing, and you are interlinking them together using associations. These are all the concepts which we will deep dive into when we start these sessions. And moving towards the end of the concepts, yeah. So what do we offer as a part of these trainings? So this training is typically meant to prepare you for a consulting role, or to get into an implementation or a support consulting role as a success factors consultant. So the whole focus will be on the configuration, the different areas of employee central like security, workflows, business rules, data models. So we will deep dive into each and every core employee central concept. uh, how do you configure employee central for a customer? How do you take the requirements? How do you read their blueprint and configure something in the system? And then we would be discussing a lot of real-time scenarios which we've done for different customers, and we'll do a lot of quizzes to understand where we are from the previous sessions, from the previous topics, practice sessions after each and every topic, and we will have a common forum to where you can put all your queries, and we would be getting back with the resolution for those queries. And then we also offer certification preparation, and if you are planning for a consultant role, we would also help you with the interview mock procedures. We would be conducting mock interviews and giving you detailed feedback on where things are going right and where things are going wrong. And if anyone has any specific needs to get into a specific project or a specific role, we also help with that assistance. And throughout the course and after the course ends as well, we will provide the server details. We will provide a server where you can practice all the exercises and understand and explore the system more. And lastly, we would be coming up with the batch dates and timings soon. So that's about the introduction for success factors, and we can take up the queries now. Does anyone want to go first? Any queries, anyone? Could be anything related to the course, related to the practice. Yes, Ashok.
Yeah, Krishna, like for how many days or for how many hours this course will be?
Yeah. Typically, it would run for around 45 days, Ashok. If you're planning for one hour session per day during the weekdays, so that would be a good duration for us to cover all the concepts in a detailed manner. So it is designed for plus or minus 45 hours.